Hello, and welcome to yet another cube. Um, Pretty interesting pack. There's the Seaver Exarch, which has combo potential, but there's also Elspeth. I think this Elspeth is probably the best card in this pack. Stormbird Dragon is obviously fine, but not a unique effect anymore in red. There's 3 already at 5 drops, which are 4/4 hasters and a 5/5 haster. Definitely not worth for speaking, I think, over an Elspeth. So for me, it's discard. What else is in here that's really good? To the nail is obviously a fine card. Riftbolt is obviously fine, but I think the player that's gonna pick this is gonna pick this. Maelstrom Pulse is fine, but it would be committing to 2 colors. Deceiver Exarch, as already mentioned, but not a lot in blue, to be honest. In white. Why am I saying blue? Because this is blue. Given that I already picked white, maybe I want something like this. It's a 3/4 flyer for 5. But then Cern the Pefrid is just better. There's also Whip of Airboss. It's a pretty good card, like giving your creatures lifelink and then having this effect. Oh, you can only use it as sorcery. Wow. In one of the previous cubes, I actually made the mistake then, thinking you could do it whenever. Pretty sure someone's gonna comment on that. Archangel versus Whip. Archangel is pretty good with the Precinct Captain. Whip would already be committing to black, and I don't really like white-black, to be honest. There's opposition, definitely slamming that one. Wish type you up Southern Deep Freed. But opposition is just a bonkers card. There's no way I'm ever passing that one up. It's the only blue one, so a lot of blue is being cut from my right or to my left, but opposition, I'm gonna say thank you. Maybe Savannah Lines or Hell Fountain Wheels. Could still go green, but opposition with Elspeth is also pretty good. Like every turn you can tap down 3 extra things. But then obviously the worst thing to get against me is something that I cannot target. But even then, still good. So the fairy thing twice are in my colors that I immediately look at. I think the fairy is a better card than think twice. None of the other cards are really appealing. Stinkweed Imp is actually a decent card, by the way. The fact that it can trade with anything is fine, and then the dredge actually has some benefits. But I think here I'm gonna pick the Teferi over a thing twice. What does this do? That's pretty good with opposition, but I think Solemn is a bit better. Although it's a 3/2, so it's 3/2 a bunch. It makes tokens. But it's only good after I already have a bunch of creatures in my graveyard. In which case, I think Solemn is a bit better. Maybe this wheels, Solemn will never wheel. So I need some early drops now. Cloudfiend Raptor is definitely an early drop, but it's not a good one. Shadow Mage is fine, but the fact that I don't really want to go and tab into a third color. Maybe dismiss, but I think I like dismiss over Cloudfiend Raptor. Cloudfiend Raptor is a fine card if you can play it turn 1, but as a drawn card it's pretty bad. And when that was a draft format with the Evolve, like Evolve was a pretty good mechanic, but the problem is if you drafted around it you had to have pretty good draws, because a bunch of creatures were just underpowered on their own when they initially were played. Hmm, that's a good one. I think for me it's Kami though. Um, it's a creature, it destroys an enchantment when needed. Mystical teachings can't actually use, because you can only get dismissed at this point. I guess Precursor Golem, huh? Making more tokens. Lightning Greaves is fine card, but I think Precursor is better. And now we'll get our opening pack back. There wasn't much in there for me, so it's gonna be a pretty shitty pick. And so far we've only been past 3 blue cards. Well, we got Serendipity for it past the pack too, but that doesn't all of a sudden make it better. Archangel together with Elspeth is actually a good combo. But you know, Elspeth is just a good card in general. So Deceiver Exarch Wheels, I think we'll pick it up. It has some value with untapping our own things. It has some value with opposition, of course. It's obviously the better card out of this pack for me. And the Whip Wheels, not a really big fan of Glorious Anthem. I think I'd rather have something stupid like a Sakura and not play it. Here it's gonna be Savannah Alliance, just because you can trade with things. Shuttle is dangerous, it's obviously fine as well. But again, I'm probably not gonna jump into a third color. And it's more likely for me to be playing a Savannah Alliance at one point. Here Phantom Centaur, I guess. Cultivate, you never know. Dark Ritual. Cursor Predation Wheels. This seems like a solid card. For 3 mana. And if you already have creatures in play, it automatically puts counters on them the turn you play this, so it has an immediate effect. Wow. There's Sour, Frontline Medic, Jace, Time Warp. I think if I pick the Jace, I'll get the Time Warp back. If I pick the Medic or the Sour, I get still the Time Warp back. Like, Dismember is gonna be gone, Bitter Blossom is gonna be gone, this is gonna be gone. The question is, what is better? I think Jace is a better card. Although Medic is pretty good. But I'm not gonna be that creature based. Sour is obviously fine, but Jace is obviously a really good card. It's not the best Jace though. I think Sour might just be better. This is and will always be Planeswalker, yeah. Okay. Guys of Saint Draft. Waterfront Bouncer, Core Repellin, Repeal, plenty of cards I would want. I'm not so sure if someone else is in these colors. Maybe Guys Can Wheel, we can just pick up this one. Like Waterfront Bouncer is obviously a pretty good card. This doesn't really work for me. This does things like bouncing things basically. I think Geist has a better payoff. Maybe we can wheel one of these for probably not Journey, but a Core Repellin is very likely to wheel. Guess Kira, because we didn't pick the Sour though. But Kira is an okay card. It protects my creatures. It's better than Fraction Revoker here. Terminus is not really the way I want to go. We currently have no equipment or anything that targets our own creatures, so Kira is just an effect that stops opponent's removal. If I had Sour and Kira, it's pretty good. Sour and Shackles. Kira and Shackles is pretty good. I can remember back when I played Legacy, and this is probably like the time I'm talking about is 5 years ago or something, when Red Trash was standard, and I think Dark Confidant just came out or something. Is that possible? Did I get just a text message, or what did I get? Or was that the sound of an email? It's an email then, I guess. Ranger doesn't really do much. I think top is the better card for me. Tassa is pretty bad, just because I don't really have that much of a commitment. Yeah, it was an email, and so I just got a smartphone from work. I have an email set up on it, and every time I get an email, it makes the same sound as my it makes the same sound as a text message, so it's pretty annoying, and I have no clue how to turn it off. Sakashima Student is obviously a pretty good card. Dungeon Geist versus Dig Through Time. As much as I think this card is really good, I think Dungeon Geist is just a bit better because it locks down opponent creatures. It's a flyer. I think it's a bit better than Dig Through Time, but I don't understand why this card is considered to be really good. Maybe we will like Force Spike, but very unlikely. Legacy's Allure, huh? There's also Parallax Wave, but I think Legacy's Allure is a bit better. Control effects are usually better. And I really do like Legacy's Allure. I think it's a really good effect. So, thanks to the people cutting blue from my right, I'm now getting a lot of blue from the left. I'm not so sure about Skyfisher. Skyfisher doesn't seem strong in my deck. I have an effect with it with Precursor Golem, resetting Sakashima Student, resetting Solemn, Deceiver Exarch. But I think Daze is better. Daze is obviously better in my opinion. How many cards do we have? 18. So that can be correct. 23. Oh yeah, we have 5 in the sideboard. I was like, wait, main deck 18? Aren't we way deeper in the pack? So this is our opening pack. Let's see what wheeled, what didn't, of course. So the Time Warp wheels. I actually think the Mutavault is better than the Time Warp. So we're very heavy on card commitment in our... I think Time Warp is better than... The problem is that the color commitment of my cards are too much of double. Waterfront Bouncer versus Repeal. Waterfront Bouncer is a similar effect. But the better part of it is that it's actually, you know, a creature which you can use. I guess I'll pick this. This really probably doesn't get played though. So what am I looking for? Like Serendip Ifrit already passed. Like if the Archangel of Doom was a Serendip Ifrit, it would look way better. But that's only with the knowledge that I would be getting a third pick opposition. Like my first pick was white. It made more sense to pick a white card. I guess Momentary Blink, it's an okay card. It saves me with Geist. It actually has effect with Deceiver, Dungeon Geist resetting, Sakashima resetting, Elite Vanguard wheel, so we have 3 early drops. I think Elite Vanguard is a bit better than Boros Elite, but if possible I wouldn't play any of them. But I obviously have to. Although, we were 14 creatures. Oh, Force Spike did well, wow. So bye bye Boros Elite. I think the next card, like after cutting these two, Time Warp should be gone. I'm really not a fan of this. Edric. Like I do have some aggro potential. and don't really have that much of a control aspect. Like Trajan Riders already passed, right? Or was it a previous cube? That's a downside to doing 3 cubes in a day. Possible 4 depending on the time here that this one will take, but they start overlapping in your mind. You're like, oh, that pack, and then you're like, oh, I think it passed already because I saw that card. Yeah, man, you already saw 9 packs today, so you probably have seen every card pass already. And there's Jose, there's Venser. Don't think Venser is that great for us. I think Yosei is a bit better. There's Colonel Helm Commander and Dictate. I haven't played that much with Dictate. People consider it to be a pretty good card, and I think that's true. There's also Everflow and Chalice. Is an Accelerant in the 4 drops better? Let's go with Yosei and cut the Archangel. Or no, the Time Warp, what am I doing? For now, I mean, it can be in maybe over something like an Elite Vanguard. Although, this is rare, this is uncommon. That doesn't matter, by the way. Just joking. How good is Snapcaster? Pretty bad. Pretty bad. So Sublime Archangel is obviously better. It's not much in this pack for me, so it's gonna be the Archangel. I think the Archangel is better than this one. But I think that way it's better. Mother of Runes is definitely a card I want to pick up. There's also another Elspeth, but I think Mother of Runes protection for my creatures is just a bit better. It allows me to push through damage as well, and it gives me time. So we have 2 cards too many. Bye bye. And bye bye. Nah, just kidding. Maybe one of these. Like, maybe I don't want to run the main deck Dismiss. This is obviously like a 5-drop or something. It's very unlikely that I'll use it early on. What do I even want to copy of my own? I'm not sure. Temple of Enlightenment, Talia, Luther Core. Think all of them are pretty good. I think I'd rather have a Luther over Talia. Pushes through for damage. Talia can block aggro though. Talia is better against aggro. Talia is way better against aggro. Luther is very unlikely to wheel. Wake Treasure, 8.5 tails. Salt Monoliths. Deep Analysis. 8.5 tails is obviously fine. But the Wake Treasure sure packs a punch. I think I'd rather have the Wake Treasure. It allows me with the Boros Elite, not with the Boros Elite, but like with the Savannah Lions and Elite Vanguard, given some draws, to be more aggressive. Like maybe that's the way we have to go, like go somewhat aggressive and then do something with that while Banishing Light. I think we have to pick that over Eternal Dragon, although I do like Eternal Dragon. I think Banishing Light is just that much better. It's basically Oblivion Ring. Yeah. A fixed Oblivion Ring. There's no way I'm playing Supreme Verdict. Remove Soul is very good, but can't pass up an O-Ring here. Maybe I'd remove the counter, like Force Spike, Daze, Sakashima, that's 3 risk, 25, and then these 2. That's cards. Old Man of the Sea, definitely taking that one. Yeah, my curve is looking better now. Like if I do something like this, it still looks good. No clue why I just did that. Then I don't know if I want Sakashima in or not. It obviously has a bunch of upsides, but it also has a bunch of downsides. Maybe Kami is out in the main deck. Momentary Blink, maybe not. Shackles, wow. Thank you. So after getting Old Man Sea, I get a Shackles. I'm not gonna say no to that. Curve looks cool, right? I think this is a good curve, but I want to cut something here and here, I think. Like probably Momentary Blink, Force Spike, Daze, Deceiver, Exarch, Sakashima Student, Archangel, something like those. Maybe even like Waterfront Bouncer, Kami is possible. I do think Waterfront Bouncer is good though, because it also allows you to bounce your own creatures, so it's also protection for your own creatures, which makes it just that much better. Coronel Commander Wheels. I think Dictate is a bit better. If I want to go aggro from the sideboard, I can bring in Dictate as well. I'm not sure how many wizards we have. We have one. No, it's not. One. No, it's not. One. No, it's not. Do we even have a wizard? What does it say? It says wizard, right? I don't think we have a wizard. Glacial Fortress, definitely taking that one. If you hear me chewing something, I have a problem with my throat at this point, so it just means making sure my voice will stay solid, but you can obviously sometimes hear it. I guess when I'm sucking on it or when I'm nibbling on it, I know. Nimbling on it? How do you name it? Nimbling is like small bites, right? Good old meats. Luthor wheels, wow. 8.5 tail wheels. Turn dragon wheels? What is this? Eight cards need to go. So I really don't like these. I can bring him in against some decks or on the play or something, but I'm not that big a fan of them. I think Momentary Blink is out. Deceiver Exarch is probably out. Probably this Archangel, given that I now have Eternal Dragon. So 3 more. I actually want a 4 drop out as well. I don't think 8.5 tails will make the cut. It's a really good card, but maybe we can just go aggro. Screw all this late game. Cut the fairy and precursor. Or just cut the fairy. This can obviously be a 2-drop. Cut the Kami. Though it's my only... Nah, we also have bench in line, but I think I want to keep it in link. What do I want to cut from these in? Do I even want to cut one of these? I think if I want to cut a 4-drop, it's a Sakashima Student, but it's like copying Sublime Archangel. I don't know if... Yeah, it stacks, so... We can definitely go aggro with this. If we go like these two in, this in, Force Spike in, but I don't think I want to. We can obviously bring him in against aggro decks just to be like, yeah, I have a bunch of cheap creatures to block yours with. I think I don't want a Sakashima soon, but it's so good on dungeon guys as well. And I always want the counter. So then the Kami is the worst one. Kami or Waterfront Bouncer. Don't want to undervalue Waterfront Bouncer, it seems pretty solid. Wake Thrasher is just a good heavy beater. So many heavy beaters, to be honest. Maybe Kami's gone, although I'd rather have the bouncer over the Kami, I think. So we have top, Legacy's Allure, Shackles, Banishing Light, these three, and this one as non-creatures. But then one generates creatures, one steals creatures, one steals creatures. This one is basically cantrip mode. And colors, heavy on the blue. If you would add these, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So this is 4, 7, 8. 8 cards. 9 cards. It's basically this then with probably not the Archangel. So these. And we would cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cards, 6 maybe. Would have a hard time figuring out the slots for those. But it's pretty viable. How many creatures would we have we would cut? Got a bunch of creatures as well, and probably keeping most non-creatures. I think my current setup is better. We can sideboard that in against some kind of deck. Especially Force Back and Daze can be brought in against some. Do wanting like a random Force Back. I think this miss is better for late game. Just keep it as is and add basics. So just in 10-6. It's definitely heavier on the blue. We can also plane cycle. We have one fix. So we'll probably go like 9-7. And then it's basically 10-9 because of one fix and Eternal Dragon. And I'll see you guys for round 1.